morning, students. So today our topic is destructive testing. In our earlier class, we have been concluded with non-destructive testing. Today we are moving to destructive testing, right? So let us move into our topic. So this is the testing, destructive testing. In this destructive testing, we are having so many things, so many testing, tensile test, shear test. So in this way, so the mechanical testing of welded joints may be carried out of the following reasons. Why we are using this testing means. So these are the following reasons which we have been shared in our screen. One is welding procedure approval, and second one is welder approval, and third one is product quality approval. So these are the main peculiar reasons why we are going for mechanical testing. That means here the workpiece or the specimen, whatever else we are taking here, must be collapsed. So welding consumables manufacturers will carry out all weld metal tests for each consumable type, and parent metal is normally subjected to extensive testing prior to its acceptance, right? So this is about the mechanical testing reasons. So come to here the types of testing. In mechanical testing, representative test samples produced under similar conditions to the in-service components are normally used, and comparison is made. The main purpose of the mechanical testing is to access the properties of weld joints. So the most frequently used mechanical tests are, so already have been shortlisted these joints in our earlier class also. So here, these are the types of mechanical tests used in our destructive testing. So one is tensile test, second one is bend test, third one is nick break test, fourth one is fracture test, and fifth one is impact test, and sixth one is the hardness test, seventh one is macroscopic and microscopic test, and eighth one is C2OD. So these are the different types of tests. So coming to this is the tensile test. Here, two workpieces have been. Children, Allah, just have a look on me here. So this is the specimen. So the specimen is pulling on either side in this way. So this is the tensile test. So the load applied may be indicated here, and the load may be in newtons and pounds or tons, whatever else we are taking. So the load may be enta load aithe apply chesamu ikkada manaki meter. We can see this here in this. Therefore, this is the stress strain curve. That is the material stress strain curve. So right. So this is the tensile stress is applied in opposite direction to pull the ends apart. Tensile test is used to access the following. One is yield point, second one is ultimate tensile strength, and third one is ductility of the specimen, right? So just wait a minute. Right. So in this way, we are having different tests. Come to this. This is the main following reason, and the second one is what happened. So right. So this is the yield point, ultimate tensile strength, and ductility of the specimen expressed as elongation. Right. So this is the tensile stress test. The reduction in the cross-sectional area indicates the ductile fracture, and the steel specimen which do not exhibit any necking usually rejected. And the UTS, ultimate tensile strength, is equal to maximum load applied by least cross-sectional area Therefore, the strain or the elongation, both are the same. That is the formula which we have been already studied in your MOS class. So strain is equal to increase in length by original length into 100. Therefore, we will get the percentage of that particular elongated length of the specimen. So coming to the bend test. So the bend test is carried out to determine the soundness of the weld zone. The commonly applied bend test is the transverse bend test. There are three ways to perform this type of bend test. One is the root bend test, second one is the face bend test, and third one is side bend test. So the specimen width of the bend test is usually at least 1.5 times the thickness, and the weld reinforcement is usually dressed flushed on both sides. So the specimen is usually bent up to, so I will share the diagram. So specimen is usually bent up to 90, 120, 130, 180. So up to right now, so this is the different types of bend test, right? So coming, this is also one of the bend test diagram. So this is the cross-sectional view, right? So this is the impact test. So in this impact test is performed to access notch toughness by measuring the energy absorbed during the impact. Two main impact tests. One is Charpy test and second one is ISOT test. So both tests, actually, we are having just the destructive testing, sorry, non-destructive testing. But I want to say here why we are discussing about the destructive testing also. Before you are entering into the MOS lab, you just take a vision on our in our class. Therefore, you will be getting easy in our MOS lab. All of you have to do all these experiments, whatever I am sharing today in our destructive testing. These experiments must be done in our MOS lab. That means SM lab. Already you are having the MOS class, theory class also. For this class, for these are all the experiments. These are all called as destructive testing, right? So in this impact test, one is Charpy V-notch and second one is ISOT test. So both tests are used for swinging pendulum. So the pendulum hits the notch specimen positioned in the machine. The specimen immediately fractures in the notch. More energy is absorbed by tougher specimen during the fracture. So this is the hardness test. Here, this test is also used to know the hardness gradient across the weld zone and parent material for comparison purpose. Hardness of the weld and HAZ will give an indication of the weldability of the material. So, right. So here we are having two common tests. One is Vickers hardness test and second one is Brinell hardness test. Both the experiments is in our laboratories. So you can observe, not only observation, you have to do the experiments whenever you are entered into the MOS lab, right? So coming to the hardness, Vickers hardness test. The test usually uses a small pyramid-shaped diamond indenter with an angle of 136 degrees. All of you just remember this angle. Therefore, you will be free with this theory, right? A force is applied to press the indenter into the surface for 10 to 15 seconds. The force applied is variable from 1 to 120 degrees, 120 kgs. The diamond indenter leaves a pin tip sized square indentation on the surface. The size of this indentation is the indication of hardness of the specimen. So coming to this Brinell hardness. Here the test is carried out by forcing the hardened 10 mm diameter steel ball into the surface of the specimen. So here also same thing, but the force is acting upon up to 3000 kgs. So that is the maximum value up to how much time? That is the 15 seconds, right? So it is an inbuilt microscope. Here we are having an inbuilt microscope which will calibrate the width of that particular indentation with a 15 seconds time. Right? The size of the indentation is the indication of the hardness of the specimen. So coming to this is the nick break test. This is the nick break test outline diagram. So here also two nicks are cut. So here you can observe two nicks are cut. Right? Two nicks are cut on each on either side of the weld. The specimen are broken by bending or striking with hammer. This causes the weld to fracture along the weakest section. The fractured faces are then examined visually. Right? So this is the fillet weld fracture test. So here you can observe. So this is the fillet weld test, right? So this is the fillet weld test theory. So this is the CTOD, but it is not actually in our theory in our syllabus. Even though we are just sharing the line diagram. So yesterday in our class we have been concluded the non-destructive testing clearly. So today we are concluded the destructive testing. So coming to this, we will move for next topic. Just wait a minute, I will share it. Okay. So this is the fourth unit. We are having metal forming process. Fourth unit, metal forming processes. So what is the metal forming process? Here we are having, all of you just listen carefully. The mechanical working processes are based on permanent changes in the shape of the body. That it is on the plastic deformation under the action of external forces. Therefore, mechanical working processes include rolling, forging, extrusion, drawing, and press working. Press working means that is the sheet metal working. Already you have been seeing in our workshop, first year workshop. Right. The stresses include in the part under greater than the yield strength and less than the fracture strength of the material, except in shearing, piercing, and blanking sheet metal working process, where the stresses induced in the part are equal to or greater than the fracture strength of the material. So mechanical working process exclude the basic processes wherever through external. Okay. Just wait a minute. Particular region. All right. So before knowing about the cold working, so this is a new topic. Before knowing about the cold working and hot working, you must know the mechanical working process. So here, so coming to the mechanical working process, excluding the machining, that means metal cutting process is not comes under the mechanical working process. Wherever even though external forces are used and the stresses included in the part are equal to or greater than the fracture strength of the material. The part is obtained by removing the material in the form of chips. Therefore, in our mechanical working process, no chips are produced here, right? So, madam, why we are not producing the chips or whatever else? No wastage, no scrap. So, coming to this, I will share the diagram here. Otherwise, we will not conclude that one. So, in shearing, piercing, and blanking sheet metal working process, even though the part is obtained by cutting it from the sheet metal, no chips are produced here, right? So that's why these processes are known as chipless manufacturing process. Mechanical working of metals means nothing but chipless manufacturing process. In all other mechanical working process, the size or shape of a part is obtained by deforming and displacing the material under the action of large external forces. Hence, these processes are also called as metal working or metal forming process. Starting materials for the mechanical working process are cast ingots and billets, various cross sections and weights, cast preforms, powdered metal bars, bar stock, powdered metal preforms are blanks. That means press working process. So, right. So here we are having certain advantages also. That is higher productivity as compared to other manufacturing processes. So, right. So coming to this, how you are defining the cold working and hot working is. So mainly cold working definition has been shared in our screen. Drastic deformation process of the metal at a temperature below the recrystallization temperature is called cold working. It's called cold working. So it is clear. So it is very clear to us. So coming to the second one, hot working. Plastic deformation process of metals at a temperature above the recrystallization temperature is called hot working. So above the recrystallization temperature and below the recrystallization temperature. So that means from room temperature to below recrystallization temperature, the work may be undertaken in the plastic deformation. Then we are calling it as cold working. So wherever above recrystallization temperature, the work material may be considered as a plastic deformation. Therefore, we are calling it as a hot working. So this is the clear picture. So this is the clear picture of the low deformation cycle. So cold working, where cold working has been obtained, where the hot working is obtained. Here, load and deformation. Load and deformation curve. This is the load and deformation curve. So here you can observe this is the elastic deformation. That means no temperature gained or lose. So this is the yield point, and this is the cold working process, and this is the maximum load. So here you can observe this is the maximum load. This is the maximum load. So starting, this is the uniform plastic deformation, and this is the post making deformation, and finally this is the ultimate strength of that particular specimen. So coming to this is the stress strain curve. So Young's model. So this is the elastic region, and this is the yield strength. So this is the ultimate strength, and this is the fracture. Last point is the fracture. So strain hardening and necking. So this is the clear picture for this load deformation curve, right? So this is the hot working diagram. All of you just have a look, and then you have to draw this curve for every topic. So hot working అని అడిగినప్పుడు మీరు ఈ కర్వ్ డ్రా చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది నాన్న. సో కోల్డ్ వర్కింగ్ ఒక కర్వ్ ఉంటుంది, హాట్ వర్కింగ్ ఒక కర్వ్ ఉంటుంది, స్ట్రెస్ స్ట్రెయిన్ డయాగ్రామ్ డ్రా చేయాలి. సో all of you just know. So this is the specimen which is heated up to recrystallization temperature, and this is the load that is the RAM. So this is the base. So this is the diagram, clear diagram. So base is supported the recrystallization temperature workpiece it is having the recrystallization temperature, and the RAM may be forced towards the workpiece. Therefore, the workpiece will attain the shape whatever else it is required. Right. So this is the hot working. So this is the diagram of the hot working. So coming to this is the cold working process. This is the curve which we have been generated by the action of the cold working. So here this is the base. Correct. So here the workpiece is not heated from room temperature to recrystallization below recrystallization temperature. We are calling it as cold working process. Right. So this is the common difference you can observe. Cold working, the common cold working process, different process. So we are having cold rolling, drawing, pinning, bending, extrusion, squeezing, short pinning. So hot working వచ్చేప్పటికి మనకి hot rolling, drawing, pinning, extrusion and forging. So the common things are pinning, extrusion, forging. So these are the common things, and drawing. So these are the common things, but it will works upon the temperatures, right? So depending upon the requirement, we are choosing our work. So this is the hot working. So it can be defined as the plastic deformation of the metal and alloys at the temperature above the recrystallization and below melting point, such as that the fine refined grain is obtained. So this is the is the metal which will be another. So this is the workpiece, the specimen which is having a temperature above the recrystallization temperature and below the melting point. So these are the rollers. It will give pressure on that workpiece. Therefore, the maximum working temperature is 0.9 to 0.7 to 0.9 times the melting point. So here the temperature has been given. So the pressure is applied on that, the load is applied. Pressure అనకూడదమ్మా. ఆ వర్క్ పీస్ కి ఎంత అయితే టెంపరేచర్ మనం ఇస్తామో ఆ టెంపరేచర్ మీద మనం లోడ్ ఎప్పుడైతే అప్లై చేస్తామో immediately it will get the shape of the requirement. According to our requirement, the shape of the workpiece may be changed. Right? Therefore, the steels is having a temperature of 1100 degrees to 1260 degrees centigrade. So it is having copper. So copper, coming to the copper and alloy, the temperature is 760 to 925 degrees centigrade. So magnesium 315 degrees, aluminum and its alloy 370 to 455 degrees. So these are the materials having, so these are also recrystallization temperature. These are all the recrystallization temperature where the hot working has been occurred for these materials. Correct. So coming to this is the rolling workpiece. So this is the rolling workpiece. Rolling. So these are the rollers. These are the supporting one. So this is the water cooling. Hot rolling. This is the hot rolling. So rolling pressure. So this is the rolling process. Right. So coming to this is the hot drawing. So here the workpiece is so this is the workpiece. So this is the die. This is the die. So it is pulling down. There the load is applied on the workpiece. Therefore, the workpiece is slowly reducing its diameter. Therefore, this is the hot drawing. So this is the hot extrusion. Let us just see the diagrams, and next we will move for clear discussion about this thing. Okay. So this is the workpiece. This is the workpiece, and this is the die. Sorry, I will change the color. So this is the die. Right, and this is the water cooled mold. So therefore, the workpiece may be cooled after completing the process. Right. So this is the hot spinning. This is the hot spinning. This work may be rotated in this direction, and the workpiece is fixed at a particular point. Therefore, the load is applied very slowly, just like a lathe, which we have been working in our lathe in our workshop. So coming to the hot spinning, though the metal spinning is also known as spin forming or spinning or metal turning. Most commonly is a metal working process by which a disc or a tube of metal is rotated at high speed. Symmetric part. Spinning can be formed by hand or by CNC lathe. Already ఇప్పుడు అన్నాను కదా లేత్ లో మీకు ఎలా అయితే వర్క్ జరుగుతూ ఉంటుందో ఇందులో కూడా అలాగే వర్క్ పీస్ ఈజ్ completely fixed at one sided of the lathe. Therefore, it is completely spinning has been occurred, and the workpiece may be performed by hand or by CNC. Coming, a block is mounted on the drive. That means one edge or one side in this way, right, of the lathe and supported by the tailstock. So this is the supporting one, and the disc is attached with headstock. Right, this is attached with headstock. Spinning roller is attached with a T-rest lever bar. It may be suitable for both hot and cold working. It is suitable for both hot and cold. So coming to the hot advantages, one is lower working force is enough to give shape, and very dramatic shape change is possible. Properties such as strength, ductility, and toughness is improved. Density increases by removing voids, and Desired shape can be easily obtained under plastic deformation. And next one is effect of impurities can be reduced. Good strength, grain structure, atoms in same direction lead to better strength. So here we are having one more time. I am giving to you low working force is enough to give the shape, and second one is very dramatic shape change is possible, and next one is properties such as strength, ductility, and toughness is improved, and the next one is density increases by removing voids, and desired shape can be easily obtained under plastic deformation. Effects of impurities can be reduced. Good grain structure, atoms in same direction leads to better strength. So this is about the advantages of the hot working. This is the advantages of the hot working. So coming to the disadvantages. Coming to the disadvantages. So this is the process takes place at a higher temperature, that is above 730 degrees. So special protection of machines is necessary, and otherwise machine and tool life is minimum. So handling cost is high, and automation is difficult one. If the die or the tool wears, the surface also affects. So while the object cools form, its recrystallization temperature due to shrinkage of the parts, the dimension may vary, right? So these are all the disadvantages. So coming to the cold working, so the process is below the recrystallization temperature. It is works under the below the recrystallization temperature. The process is in which plastic deformation occurs when the process is carried out at a temperature lower than the recrystallization temperature. The temperature is half of absolute melting temperature, 723 degrees theoretically. Practically, in room temperature, it is 25 to 30 degrees. So cold forming is mostly suitable for axisymmetric components. So one is blanking, and the second one is tube drawing, and third one is embossing, and fourth one is wire drawing, and sixth one is metal spinning. So these are all the commonly used cold working process. So coming to this cold working materials, so low and medium carbon steels, low alloy steels, and third one is copper and light alloy such as aluminum, magnesium, and titanium. So these are the different types of materials used in our cold working. So coming to the advantages of the cold working. Widely applied as a forming process for steel, cold working is done at room temperature. So no oxidation and scaling of work material occurs, and excellent surface finish. Excellent surface finish may be obtained, which reduces the secondary machining process, and high dimensional accuracy may be obtained by this cold working process. So these are all the advantages, right? Highly suitable for mass production and automation because of low working temperature. So these are the disadvantages. Strength of the metal is high. మీకు ఎప్పుడు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండమ్మా, మిమ్మల్ని కోల్డ్ వర్కింగ్ హాట్ వర్కింగ్ డిఫరెన్స్ అడుగుతాడు, ఏ టెంపరేచర్ దగ్గర కోల్డ్ వర్కింగ్ హాట్ వర్కింగ్ చేస్తాం అడుగుతాడు, అలాగే అడ్వాంటేజెస్ డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్ క్లియర్గా అడుగుతాడు. సో మీకు ఏదైతే ఎక్స్ట్రూజన్ అవన్నీ ఇట్స్ వెరీ బిగ్ టాపిక్. అవన్నీ చెప్పుకోవాలి అంటే ముందు ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో అబౌట్ ద cold working process and hot working process, at which temperatures, at which plastic or elastic range it is working, what is the deformation, and what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages అని మొత్తం ప్రాసెస్ అంతా కూడా తెలిసి ఉండాలి, రైట్? సో స్ట్రెంగ్త్ ఆఫ్ ద మెటల్ ఈజ్ హై, సో లార్జ్ ఫోర్సెస్ ఆర్ నీడెడ్ ఫర్ deformation. Complex shapes cannot be formed in this cold working process. tools must be specially designed, high cost and stress formation in the metal during cold working is higher. So this requires stress relieving. Right? So coming to the cold working limitations, one is it depends on the chemical composition. Mainly it depends upon the chemical composition of the material. That is the percentage of carbon or alloying. Right. The maximum limit is usually 0.4 carbon and 1% cold forging. So larger grain is easy for cold working. Larger may be easily deformed in our cold working. So this is the, I will share this PPT also. So this is the main differences. Working above recrystallization temperature, whereas hot working and cold working above the recrystallization temperature. So this is working below recrystallization temperature. So this is the first point. And the second one is new crystals are formed in our hot working. New crystals are not formed in our cold working. So, and the third one is it hardens the metal, and this one is no hardening, right? So in our hot working process, impurities are removed from the metal, whereas in cold working, impurities are not removed from the metal. So here elongation of metal takes place. Here elongation decreases. మిమ్మల్ని 14 marks question అడుగుతున్నాడు దీన్ని కంప్లీట్ గా మీరు ఇంకా రాయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. So this is a large size metals also deformed, limited to size. Internal stresses are not formed. Internal stresses are formed. So this is about the differences between the hot working and cold working process. So coming to this, so this is the forging operation. So these are all the forging operations. So this is this one. Forging means application of high load on that particular specimen. Therefore, it will get the shape of that particular die. Then it is called as forging operations. We can see it in our roadside wherever we are doing operations. First one is upsetting. The length is shortened and either or both its thickness and width is increased. The piece is said to be upset. This operation is upsetting, increase the cross-sectional area also. It increases the cross-section. Student ikkada. So this is the workpiece which we have been, So this is the actual workpiece, right? Therefore, the top die wheel moving in this direction. That means the pressure is applied. Therefore, it is the shape of the particular object may be changed into in this way. So this is the bottom die. It will support the workpiece, right? So after upsetting, it will so the workpiece is changed in this way, right? So this is called as upsetting. Next, so upsetting force can be applied in the direction that is parallel to the length of the axis. It is commonly used in manufacturing processes such as the production of bolts. Mainly, it is mainly used for the production of bolts. So this is the forging operations. One is heading. If upsetting process is done at only one end of the piece, that process is known as heading. That process is known as heading. Right. So this is the forging. So this is the blocking. So refine the shape of the finished forging. Right. Forging operation. So this is the pullering. Forging operations. So this is one of the methods. So student here you will observe. This is the workpiece. It is attained. Another concave and convex shape తీసుకురావడం కోసం చేసే ప్రాసెస్ ని మనము పుల్లరింగ్ అని పిలుస్తాము. So reducing the cross section at the center of the plane and increases its strength. ఇక్కడ చూడండి. Have a look on it. So this is the die, top die, and this is the bottom die. All right. So the workpiece. The workpiece actually it is having in this way. Therefore, it may be changed its shape into in this way. It's like a change over, right? So దీన్ని మనం పుల్లరింగ్ అంటాం. Technique is commonly used to make the internal combustion of engine, right? Internal combustion engine అని యూజ్ చేస్తాం. So this is the forging operation. One is edging or rolling, pullering and edging. So చూడండి, పుల్లరింగ్ వచ్చేపాటికి మీకు ఇలాగా it will get its shape, whereas edging వచ్చేపాటికి it will. సో ఇది మిమ్మల్ని ఎక్కువగా అడుగుతాడు, ప్లస్ చేస్తాను కదా. పుల్లరింగ్ వచ్చేపాటికి కాన్కేవ్ అండ్ కాన్వెక్స్ షేప్స్ అనేది వస్తాయి, అది మనం ఈజీగా చెప్పుకున్నాము. whereas edging వచ్చేపాటికి in this way. So both are very clear, very closer to one after thing. So all of you just have a look. So distribute the metal longitudinally by moving metal from the portion of higher cross section and increases its length by compressive force. All right. So this is the punching and blanking. This is the punching and blanking. The most common shearing operations are punching, where the sheared slug is scrap or may be used for some other purpose, and blanking, where the slug is the part to be used and the rest is scrap. So this is the piercing and punching, right? So this is the forging operation. So this is bending, turn a part over the anvil. This is one of the most common forging operations. It is mainly needed for those parts that should be used near bend. You can see at anywhere. So this is the common thing. So in our next class we will move for this punching and blanking, all these operations. Okay, today. Our session has been concluded.